kind of killer villain that he becomes toward the end of the film, as opposed to just going from one to the other with no transition. And he plays that lovely.
And Michael Keaton, I mean, and he could really ham it up because he can chew scenery with the best of them.
Yeah. You want to get nuts? Let's go nuts. To quote Batman.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a good example.
What are your feelings about Aunt May?
I'm okay with it. Like, because I think a lot of the times when, given how old she's being played, like having her actually be an aunt makes less sense than it would be if she was like a great aunt.
Yes.
Sally Field could have been an aunt still, and that's fine because she's, appropriately older than him. But like you usually get her as this like very like not very, very old woman, but still a woman who is like significantly older than Peter's parents would be.
Yeah.
If he's in high school. And she would have to be like the first child, and his mom or dad would have to be the child that came when she was like 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they would have had to wait a long time to have Peter.
To be fair, though, I think those previous casting choices of Aunt May have really come from the way she looks in the comics, which, no offense to Aunt May in the comics, she kind of looks 2 steps away from being desiccated.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. Yeah, she always has like the narrow, wrinkly face and all that jazz. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not unfaithful. Like casting her as a much older person isn't unfaithful to the comics, but having her be just 20 or 25 years older. I have no idea how old Marissa Tomei actually is, but she looks about 25 years older than Peter Parker, and that makes sense.
Yeah, and I really like that choice of having her be a younger figure, so she can still be a kind of parent figure, but also be someone who's not completely unrelatable to Peter. So he has the scene where he runs in, he's like, I need your help.
And so that Iron Man can hit on her awkwardly.
Oh my gosh. He is hilarious when he's awkwardly hitting on Aunt May. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me laugh every single time.
I like his bit from Civil War when she gives him the walnut date bar, and he's like, "Oh, this is really good," and then he spits it out in Peter's room, and he's like, "But as walnut date bars go, that actually wasn't bad."
Oh man, Robert Downey Jr. can sell almost any line.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Wow, Marissa Tomei is much older than I thought she was.
How old is she?
She was born in 1964.
Okay, so she is 53 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
At least 53. She could be 54.
She doesn't look that old at all.
Her actual birth date. Yeah.
I'd say she looks at least 10 years younger than that. At least. Well, Marissa Tomei, if you're listening to this podcast, you've held up really well. Good job.
Right. On the off chance that Marissa Tomei is listening to us.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei, friend of the show.
Thank you. By the way, I'm just waiting, and I don't know how I'm actually gonna pull it off to actually say friend of the show without sounding like a pretentious butthead. Like, I think that it's hard to actually do that because it's like just one step back from like really blatant name dropping.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, but I think it would be fun, and I think I actually told you this, and I haven't actually done any of these yet, but I think it would be fun to have like achievements that unlock for the show. And the first time we get to actually say friend of the show, that should be one of our achievements to unlock.
Yep. We have a friend of the show. Yeah, what do you think about the actual just plot of the film? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like, and again, this kind of goes with the whole not doing the origin story. I think it makes a lot of sense just to kind of drop us into his life, because like nothing has really even super happened to him as Spider-Man yet in this story. Like, it looks like maybe he was kind of awkwardly trying to foil some like minor crimes around, and then he went off and did the Civil War thing, and that was like sort of what, propelled him into like bona fide Spider-Man-ness. And I really like the story. I think there's one misdirect that I really appreciated was of Liz as the daughter of Adrian Toomes.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
When you're doing a Spider-Man story and he's in high school, 100% that the only Liz they're going to be talking about is Liz Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great misdirect.
Because, like, she was the high school person for Peter. Unless Betty Brant was in there also. But I kind of have a feeling that she came a little bit later, before Gwen Stacy and definitely before Mary Jane, because Mary Jane didn't come along until well after Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I actually liked about the movie, because you're kind of expecting, as the kind of casual fan who's maybe watched the previous Spider-Man movies, you're going, okay, well, where's MJ or where's Gwen Stacy and who's this Liz chick, And so it feels nice and fresh because he's doing something that isn't, quote, normal for a Spider-Man movie. But if you're a kind of a hardcore fan, you're like, oh yeah, I think that's who this is. And then there's that lovely twist when he is taking her to prom and you're like, oh, that is not who she is.
Right. Yeah, not at all. And that scene that they have in the car that he has with Michael Keaton, I think was great. I really liked that. I think the drama in that scene was really effective. What I kind of didn't super, I thought about this later, is he just sort of casually drapes his hand with the gun over the seat, and I get it. The kid is wigged out, he's inexperienced. He doesn't, his brain is being just blown all over the place right now. But let's be real about the degree to which it would be so easy for Spider-Man to just take that gun away from him. Right?
Yeah.
It's literally 8 inches away from him. There isn't any conceivable universe where Spider-Man exists that he couldn't just reach up and grab that really fast.
That's true if we're just talking about strictly abilities, but I think the acting moments that they play in there, he is just completely back-footed from the first time he sees Toomes in the house, and they're having this awkward conversation in the car, which is, again, beautifully played, because almost everything that happens in the I know who you are, you know who I am happens completely without dialogue. Liz is talking and just going, oh, yeah. And there's this weird, oh, no, I know who you are, but now you know who I am thing. And now he's even more taken aback. So I don't think he could have done anything if he really wanted to, because he's just so in shock that this is even happening.
Yeah, and like I said, I understand the character reason why he was not able to, pull himself together and make anything happen in that moment. But it's one of those just fridge logic things that kind of starts to bother you later.
Which is funny, because that part doesn't bother me at all. One of the parts earlier when they're where Ned and he are talking, or well, really Ned is just asking him a whole bunch of questions. And Ned's asking him about if he's ever met Captain America, and they're sitting in a group of 30 people having a whispered conversation. I don't care how low your voice is. The people who are directly in front of you or directly behind you are going to hear what you're talking about.
They will hear that. And the other thing at the high school that bugged me is what about that whole vial of web fluid that blew up in the desk of the chem lab?
Right.
There are no consequences from that at all. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Apparently nobody ever gets into that drawer ever.
Janitor comes in that night. Well, it's another day on the job. I'll just clean out this
Why won't this drawer open? Golly darn it, these children.
That's the scene that played out in my head after I watched that scene. There's just this janitor trying to like pour every type of cleaning fluid on that stuff to get it off the drawer.
Goof off won't work. Oh, let me try some bleach.
If it doesn't dissolve in 2 hours, as per usual with Spider-Man's webbing.
Yes. Speaking of that,
because that's an established thing. Yeah. Speaking of
and he even says it in the film. Donald Glover, the scene with
does he?
Yeah.
That's right.
The scene with Donald Glover. He's like, that'll wear off in 2 hours. He's like, no, this is not okay. No, you're a criminal. It's fine. You deserve it.
Right.
Bye, criminal.
Bye, criminal.
Yeah.
That scene has another great moment in this movie that I love so much, is when he's trying to be all intimidating and Donald Glover's character just isn't buying it whatsoever.
He's like, I've heard your voice.
You understand that this is a part of the job that you need to get better at, right?
Yeah. My favorite line there is like, I know what you sound like. I know a girl when I hear it. He's like, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. I mean a man. I'm a man.
I'm a Spider-Man. Yeah.
And did you catch the reference that he says he's got relatives who live around there, and he's totally talking about Miles Morales?
I did. I don't know if I caught that, but I knew that is what he was referring to.
Yeah. There's even a deleted scene where he name checks Miles.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
So I liked that just for being nerdy. I was like, I know who he's talking about.
So, okay, let's talk about Miles Morales just for a second. Like, what do you think about, like, him actually becoming part of the MCU at some point?
I am all for it. I love the Miles Morales Spider-Man. I mean, really, really love the Miles Morales Spider-Man. Aside from just adoring his suit, because I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, that is a great suit.
Oh, man. So cool. But anyway, I just... aside from how awesome his suit is, I just really like his character, and it's just refreshing to have a non-white superhero.
Sure.
So I just, a little inclusion of people of not white skin, because everyone's a person. Let's make people superheroes. I mean, not to be political at all.
I don't know if I don't know if you know this. I mentioned it a few episodes ago. They're actually going to do an animated thing with Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yes.
That's coming out, I think, next year.
Yeah, I had heard that. I'm super excited about it. I don't know where it's going to air, though.
I'm not sure. I know it's going to be a feature-length thing, so it might just be a direct-to-video deal.
Yeah, maybe. They're trying to capture some of that DC animated film market, maybe.
Yeah, which, I don't know how much of that they really need to get. I mean, because DC's animated stuff usually has been really good. I know a lot of people very much disliked some things about the Killing Joke adaptation that they did, and
the weird Batgirl prologue of that.
Quinn.
Have you seen the animated version?
Yeah, we're just not going to really get into that. I know about it.
You're just like, no, I just refuse to talk about it. It's terrible. Doesn't exist in my universe.
No, it's fine to exist. I just don't want to talk about it.
Right. Okay. Sure. I don't know if it's going to be a direct to video release or if they're going to put it on YouTube or not YouTube. Put it on Netflix or Amazon.
They might put it on YouTube.
They might put it on YouTube Red. I hear that's really going well as a pay service for video content.
Oh, speaking of YouTube Red, really fast.
Yes.
I saw the trailer for the Cobra Kai series.
Oh, really?
Just today.
Oh man, I need to watch that. How terrible is it?
It's like it could be more terrible, but I think it could also be very, very, very much better.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll give it a shot. I mean, nostalgia can work sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know, and I don't know if the other actor who's it's supposed to be about and we're just not even on topic at all, but that's fine. Who cares? It's supposed to be about the grown up dude that the Karate Kid kicked in the head in the first movie.
Yes.
And then also that character the Daniel LaRusso character is also still in it, which honestly I did not expect at all. Like going into the trailer, I was like, okay, it's just going to be about this karate school, and like the other kid isn't going to be gone and not involved at all. But it's totally involved, and it's going to be. I think the concept is interesting, but it definitely doesn't look amazing enough for me to